Hello, friends! Today is Friday, March 8th, and it is 3:15 p.m., and I am absolutely bursting at the seams. I uploaded part 1 of my Oxybenzone magazine explaining Oxybenzone and the toxic chemical that is in the majority of your sunscreens that you probably don't know about and you're probably using on yourself and your kids, that is very, very toxic, and sadly in most sunscreens still. But companies are taking it out because they know that it's toxic, but the general public doesn't really know about it. So I, with SaveTheCorals.club, aim to explain it to people in a very easy to follow way that goes from 0 to, oh my gosh, I understand, in an easy magazine format. So go to SaveTheCorals.club/Oxybenzone if you want to see part 1 of the Oxybenzone magazine. Whoop whoop! So it is episode 8. I don't know why I said 8. It's Friday, March 8th. It's episode 14 now, I believe. We're gonna say 14 of my daily life and lessons, little lifelong series. And so today's lesson is definitely grit and perseverance, because I have been working on this puppy for so long. And now that I'm looking back on it, it's literally been more than 6 months that I have had this stuff plastered to my walls and all over. So with that, I'm gonna show you a quick look because it is wickety, wickety wild. Here we go. How are you? I was just recording my daily video.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get it done?
No, I just recorded 3 minutes of it, and I was gonna show people my part 1 that I uploaded.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa, what are all of these?
The display stuff.
Okay. Sounds good. It's just a lot.
Yeah, so you can check it out, whatever.
You can still return something?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Cool.
Did you get food?
Yes. On the table. Let's take a look.
Table.
Yeah.
Shasa to the picnic basket.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Alright, we're gonna eat now. I am so happy and proud to announce that I published part 1 of my Oxybenzone magazine. So you can find it here at savethecorals.club/Oxybenzone, which is here on the website. And here we go. So this is from the Hawaii Senate bill, which like clearly explains oxybenzone and octinoxate. So early days of sunscreen. Coco Chanel started the tanning revolution. UVB stands for burn. UVA are the aging rays. And we incorrectly focused on UVB rays for a very long time. And then when the FDA came out with the regulations, they only focused on UVB rays as well, which meant that that's what we focused on. And SPF only stands for UVB rays. And UVB rays are actually seasonal, and they vary with like altitude and time of day and everything, and they can be blocked by glass. Whereas, and like all sunscreens, and UVA rays, they penetrate through glass and they penetrate way deeper in the skin. And so with the 1980s came a time of boom and excess and really loose sunscreen regulations, and so they came out with the sprays. And oxybenzone and avobenzone were a very, very, very cheap way to get that UVA radiation once we realized that that was harmful as well. So then here's a timeline explaining, so like nothing really happened here, right? And then all of a sudden, bam, Greider introduces UVB, then researchers prove that UVA radiation also causes damage to the skin, and then a year later, the FDA proposes to regulate sunscreens, ignoring the UVA factor, and then only using SPF, which is only a measure of UVB, to measure burning as a measure for the effectiveness of sunscreens, which is a big, big mistake that had very, very big, vast implications. And then 1990, oxybenzone was added to the high production volume challenge program for manufacturing in or importing to the US chemicals more than 1 million pounds per year. And because people prefer clear, easy sprays, and when you buy a sunscreen for your kid, they're usually going to run away from you because they don't like sunscreen. So you buy a spray, and that's literally the worst thing that you can buy. And because children don't have the metabolites to break down oxybenzone, and it has far more toxic byproducts, and it impacts development. So you should not be spraying this on your children, and definitely pregnant women should never be using this, yet it's in the majority of sunscreens. And we think, we're led to believe that, it could be okay. And then it wasn't really until the 2000s that we really saw that oxybenzone had really widespread effects. But here's just a list of a bunch of studies, like important studies kind of, and the things that they found out about oxybenzone and the timing. So see, this was throughout decades, all these things that just verify the people before them and amplify whatever they say. So by 2008, we know that oxybenzone is clearly a toxicant and a health risk. And the EWG published how Americans carry the burden of the toxic sunscreen chemical because the CDC found that 97% of Americans were contaminated with oxybenzone. And it's a penetration enhancer, a chemical that helps other chemicals penetrate the skin, and it's in the majority of sunscreen products. And then typically women have higher levels of oxybenzone than men, but that also could be because of higher use of products. And then recent changes, the FDA actually just came out with a new update that is reviewing all chemical sunscreens and their safety and effectiveness. That's a huge step forward. But up until then, it had been largely unreviewed by the FDA. So the CDC found that the majority of Americans had oxybenzone in them. And why is this? Everything that makes oxybenzone such a good photoprotector also makes it an endlessly toxic contaminant. So the same exact properties that make it so good for sunscreen are exactly what make it so toxic and so ubiquitously toxic to everybody and everything. So that's part one of the Oxybenzone magazine, and I look forward to showing you part two very soon. Hi friends, we're back, and look at the Oxybenzone magazine is online. So check out savethecorals.club/oxybenzone for part one of the paper today on March 8th, 2019. But yeah, so let me show you. My mom got home, so we have to talk to her about, yeah, look at my corals. These are corals that I collected in the BVI when we were there a few months ago. Coral skeletons, my friends. And then I've cleaned so much of it up because it had it all here this morning. But now it's clean. But there we go. So this is what's coming up next. No, that is not my vodka, it's just a container. So that's life. Very exciting stuff, my friends. And this is the state of state of the world. It was a little bit, little warmer today than usual, like 10 degrees, 20 degrees warmer than usual. It was like actually 20 degrees Fahrenheit rather than negative to maximum 10. So the snow started to melt. Beautiful sunset right now. And a beautiful world, beautiful banana tree. We love banana trees. We can have another episode on that. But anyways, my friends, it has been a fantastic day, and we will see you tomorrow for more on Life and Lessons.